This shit better work. I'm missing the voice. This shit better work. I'm missing the voice.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Far From Normal Radio Show. And as always, I have my brother from another mother here, Mr. Bud Vino. Bud, how are you doing this evening?
Yo, and yo, my brother from another mother, Jay Money Watts. I'll give him the intro. Tuesday, February 26, 2019. It's so good to be back with you boys. As always, we've got Mr. Rev it up, Mr. Randy Davis is in the house. And we're going to tell you the whole seat, ladies and gentlemen. But you're only going to need the edge because the champ's in the house, J-Moss.
Absolutely. Randy, how are you doing, brother?
Brothers, I've never been better working out on the farm today. Had fresh biscuits with molasses, so I'm ready to watch Yahya McClain knock them out.
All right, awesome. And I know that we're going to get into this real quick here. We're going to get Yahya right on. I did want to say we had a lot of technical difficulties. We've been having those for some odd reason on Tuesday nights and Tuesday nights only that we seem to be having this issue. It seems to be that somebody somehow, some way is jamming what we're doing. And I'm not sure why. We obviously do know why, because the more we get it out there, the more they don't like it. So we got to get it out there 100%. And I know we had to stop that video as well. I know that there are people out there who are tuning in to the YouTube link, and you're thinking, why is it that we're not seeing you on Facebook Live? It's because the signal is always being jammed for some odd reason on these Tuesday nights. I don't know why, don't know how, but we're going to figure it out, and we're going to come back to you with that, and we'll give you that information as soon as we can get it. But we are more than pleased here to interview tonight Mr. Yahya McClain. How are you doing, Yahya?
I'm outstanding. How about yourself?
Awesome, awesome. And as you can see, Yahya has the background there, Casualties of War, Warriors Against the Regime. That was a amazing documentary that you put together. And I'm going to ask you this right off the bat, because I think it's very important. I know that we'll have some people who are trying to share the link out there, Cowboys for Trump. So we know that this is going to go viral. We do know that, and that might be why it got jammed. But the thing is, I want to ask you about that documentary that you put together is, do you think that maybe the lack of available funding, maybe through grants and things like that, may have slightly stifled some of the things that you were doing? And do you think that you ran into that lack of funding because the controversial issue of the family court?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, without a doubt. You know, what I've learned is that no one wants to go against the government. And no one wants to be a whistleblower. No one wants to expose what's really going on. They don't want to be affiliated with it. But when your children are taken away from you, and your children are the ones that are suffering, and you do anything but fight for them, then you're the biggest coward I could ever imagine.
Exactly. Exactly. And you are talking right here to a two-time world champion boxer here. So if anybody should not be denied their rights, we're talking about the people that are in the public eye, one of those being a two-time former heavyweight, or excuse me, two-time boxing champion of the world. You would think that you don't want to pick a fight with a boxer. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, you know, when they're coached, coerced, or just taught the silver bullet techniques, they can take down, you know, because like I always say, I am a two-time world champion boxer. I am from the mean streets of Jamaica, Queens, New York. I am a former, well, I'm a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in more street fights than one could imagine. So this battle that we are all losing in the family law court system in America is by far the hardest fight that I've ever been involved in. And
absolutely.
it don't matter what you do. You're a boxer, it doesn't matter who you are. Actor, singer, songwriter, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And it affects us all the same way. And I think it's an honor and privilege to have you on here as well. And I know Bud Bino, we want to go ahead and get to Bud as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, first of all, as always, Champ, it's an honor. Thank you for coming on. And I think it's very important what you just said, because we've said it many times, it'll drop the biggest and the baddest. And people that haven't experienced it don't have any idea. It rips your soul apart. It tests your manhood. It tests your womanhood. It tests your strength as a human being as a whole. So I'm glad that you said that, because you're looking at the biggest and the baddest right here, right, Jay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I mean, look, man, a boxer versus the family law court, it's not even close.
Yep, exactly.
No, man, because we all know there are no rules in family law.
No, there are not. You know, and I'm going to get to Randy Davis real quick as well, because I'm sure that Randy's had some questions.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm, you know, I want to come on here and try to be myself and act normal, but I got to be far from normal tonight.
That's right. 100%. Randy, go ahead.
Well, Yahya, thank you for being on here. Oh, and first of all, let me get this out of the way, because Jay always cuts off people before they get to say it. But we're putting together something, so I need you to say, rev it up.
Oh, no doubt. Rev it up, Randy Davis. Rev it up.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I know
Okay.
all about this, man. Rather than
Quickly.
Bud Vino. Huh? Bud Vino.
Hey, real quick before we get rolling.
Dave Moss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, boys, before we get rolling too, I usually have soda. I'm double fisting it tonight, but this is in honor of Randy Davis. Had a conversation with Melissa McDonald before the show, a very awesome, empowering, enlightening conversation. So I decided, wow, coffee sounds good. She was making coffee for Randy. So
I got some iced coffee. I got a little iced coffee.
there you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
Nothing like
normally I should
caffeine.
have my coffee. Yeah, because I'm the
Right,
coffee
more.
person here. I don't know what's
I
going
don't
on.
have any.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's contagious, man.
Yeah, 100%. And Yahya, you have so much going on. Two-time world boxing champion. You are getting the Warriors Against the Regime documentary has been out. You have been in films. You are now putting out a book. I'm wondering what's next, Yahya. Are you going to put out an album as well?
That is my dream. Hey, if I wasn't on here right now, let me tell you, if I wasn't on this show right now, you know what I would be doing? Watching The Voice.
Jay, I hope that picked it up in the intro. He said, "This damn thing better work. I'm missing the voice." I picked up on it. Classic. And in terms of the music, you asked the champ how he was doing. He said outstanding. I thought of Shaq back in the day. I think it was '94 champ. I'm outstanding. Shaq did it. Shaq did it back in the day, and he ripped it up. What's up, Doc? Can we rock? You can do it.
Yeah, no,
Exactly. And your new book is actually out there. It's not necessarily about the family court system, but it is about your career and your life. And it is called And Still. And let me see if I can share that here on the Amazon real quick, if it'll let me.
So the book is
not there.
new. The book is a few years old. I wrote the
Okay.
book, and the book is about my life, and it's called And Still because, like I said, I'm from New York. My father was killed when I was 3 years old. My mother, was forced to raise 3 boys on her own. I've been in more street fights than one can imagine. I'm a Marine. I'm a boxer, and I've been divorced 4 times. I'm happily married to my 5th wife, Vanessa. I love you, baby. And through all of that, I'm still standing. I'm still here. And still. So the fight that I'm having to see my son, whom I haven't seen for the 13 months, I'm going to win that one too.
Exactly. 100%. I'm fully confident that you're going to get there, brother.
But the book covers everything about my life, man. It's very, for one, I always tell people this. After you read the book, don't judge me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't judge me.
100%.
But it's a very interesting book. It has lots of people in it.
Yeah, and I think everybody goes through different struggles and different things. And they, look, there are parts in this movement where you go through the family court system, or you go through DCF, or you go through CPS issues. And I'm going to tell you this: it is anything you can do to survive. Anything you can do to survive, no matter what that is. And it's sad that it has to be that way, but it is 100%. But I'm going to talk about a little bit about your boxing career, because you were just an amazing boxer, I think. You also trained someone else that I won't mention, and also promoted someone else I won't mention for you. But
you can mention her.
Oh yeah,
that's part of my life. It's part of history.
Okay. All right. Not a problem. So he has trained Layla Ali. He has promoted Layla Ali. So we're talking about, we're talking about somebody who is amazing out there, a world champion herself. So this is absolutely imperative. And I think that we should take a look at this clip here, because this is going to bring back some memories for you, Yahya. Let's see here. Let me pull this up real quick.
Uh-oh.
From to kind of back off. These guys, of course, have been in there. Now the 20.
Oh, and he's and he's down.
First round, he's done his damage, and down goes Peter Smith. He's a little help. He's still in trouble.
He looks a little disoriented, a little unsteady on his feet.
Dave Ferris has to make a decision. He asked the right question, but does Peter Smith react? Here comes McClain. McClain underneath. Peter Smith trying to grab to hang on as McClain again continues to pound away. And Smith is in real trouble.
McClain scoring with right hands practically at will. Sees a golden opportunity here and is doing everything he can to take advantage of it. Smith still seems rather disoriented. He's doing his best to hang on, but McClain is sneaking that right hand in over the top and underneath.
There comes Smith throwing one off the break and caught McClain.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
They say protect yourself at all times, but you're certainly not supposed to hit on the break.
Oh, a little up and under type swinging hook that time thrown by McClain, and Smith continues to be almost totally disoriented.
Right,
he's in real trouble. McClain's got him down a second time.
I think the right hand that landed a few seconds earlier was the punch. Referee Dave Parrish.
All righty, and you stopped the fight on that one. That was amazing. I'm thinking the punch after the break, that might have set it off right there for you. And you said, that's enough.
Oh, yeah, he got it. Now you must fall.
Well, a couple of, yeah. First of all, you had a really hard right cross. You were hammering him. And when you slipped a little bit, first of all, you made it look good when you got up and you looked. At that point, I knew, I said, this guy's in trouble. You're not going to make him look bad or embarrass him. And you saw blood, too, when you knocked him. He was dazed. Good thing they stopped that one.
Yeah, man, let me tell you, that fight was my first fight with Cedric Kushner. Rest in peace, Cedric Kushner was a great boxing promoter, South African, and he lived here in the States. And I was on a 2-year layoff because I had rotator cuff surgery. So my first fight back was this world title opportunity to fight a South African promoted by a South African promoter, which was my promoter as well. And the fight was in South Africa during the month of Ramadan. And boy, I'm telling you, man, when God's with you, can't nobody be against you. It was me, my trainer, and my manager, and that's it. Yep.
That was an amazing fight that we just saw. You picked up the belt there, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That was my first time.
Yeah. So you, like I said, you guys you're looking at a former champion of the world here who's telling you that the family court is the hardest battle that he has ever been in his life. That ought to tell you something, that we have a system that is set up to fail our children. That's why we do what we do. That is why Yahya McClain as well was part of the Future of Our Children's radio network at one time. And Yahya, you have an open invite right here, right now. If you want to be part of the Future of Our Children's video network at any time, brother, you come on in and we'll make that happen. We'll figure out all these flaws first.
When I was watching the intro, I was saying they need a black guy.
Yeah. We need a little inclusion there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I
dressed to the nines.
There you go. Looking dapper. Yeah. If I could too, when we had you on a few months back, and I remember because my wife and I had discussed it after the show. It was actually a really powerful show, and it was the first show. You were actually on one of our shows months back, and it was a very powerful show. And I remember you had everybody make a pledge that was listening that they would not commit suicide.
Yeah, every time I speak, I do that.
Yeah, and it was really powerful. And the things you had said, it was one of the shows, again, after the show, my wife and I had discussed. It was a very good and powerful show. And I think what you had mentioned earlier about your book and people not judging us, for me, the realness is what I crave. I love it when people are raw. Because as Jay said, we all, I won't use the language, we all F up at points. We all look back at things. That's why I say no regrets, just experiences. Because, we all do things that we're not necessarily proud of, but also people can judge. But when you're not when you're put in certain positions, And people out there can say, oh, no. When you're put in like life and death positions or when you're literally starving, you'll be surprised what you do. So people that judge, don't judge until you're there because you won't be judging. So again, it was awesome the first time, and it's great the second too. Randy.
Well, I appreciate it, man. But yeah, every time I speak somewhere, I try to, if I have an audience and I have the microphone, and it's this type of setting, I always try to get everyone to make the pledge, man, because I think that what we speak is what we live, is what comes to fruition. So if we speak it, you may be thinking bad, crazy thoughts, but if you can speak it, and it was watching that intro, I had a moment of sadness because I had Dominique Tomasillo in the documentary. I went to his house in Chicago and interviewed him, and to see him in there and he's not with us anymore, it was like, wow, look at Dominique. So, I try to make everyone take that pledge, man, because how can you go back on that pledge, man? How can you go against it? Like
Yeah,
really
100%.
believe in something.
Yeah, and I know our one of our co-hosts who's out tonight, obviously Neil Shelton, had a great relationship with Dominique. Randy, you had a great relationship. Bud and I both did as well. So that's the one thing that all of us have in common was a great relationship that we had with Dominique Tomasello, and that really kind of came to the forefront when we were thinking about doing a radio show, was getting in contact with Neil and Randy and coming forward and bringing something different to the table. And that's how the Far From Normal radio show was kind of conceptualized, I guess you can say. And we've been doing it ever since. And we moved back to the old song, as you guys heard on the intro tonight. So we're kind of coming full circle on this whole thing. So Randy, I know that you want to talk, as well with Yahya. Go ahead. I don't know if he locked up there. Are you there?
Well, if that's his frozen screen, Jay, he looks good.
Randy, are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I didn't know who you were talking to. I didn't hear you. I was still thinking about the black guy. God. Okay.
Some of them are real,
well,
and you tapped them, and they came to life. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah. Anyway, my son is a Marine. Well, at 9 years he was and still is. He's a personal trainer in Florida now, out of Tampa. But 4 tours, enduring freedom. So thank you for your service, Yahya, and thank you for the entertainment that you provide after your service. I'm sorry you went through what you went through. I think the biggest thing that I can gather from this is it doesn't matter. And as we've known, we've talked with John Schneider on this show, MJ Rhodes, Wendy Reardon, movie stars, singers, boxers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. If you fall into the clutches of what's called quote unquote family court, they're going to do their best to destroy you. And it's hard. It's a difficult run. And for me, it was the hardest thing to get over with. I couldn't make things happen quick because I think Yahya would agree. If you get into a boxing match, you know how long a round is. You know how many rounds at most the match is going to go. But when you fall into this, the thing I see that gets people is that it just goes on forever. There is no schedule of events. There is no agenda. There is no timeline. And you keep thinking this time at court, it'll be it. Next time at court, it'll be it. Kind of like making it to the next round. So I guess my question to you is, well, it's 2 parts. Number one, they call it family court, but we know it has nothing to do with the family. It's not family oriented or anything. So with that in mind, the other part of my question is, why do they call it getting into the ring when it's not round?
Well, us aficionados, we refer to it as the squared circle.
There you go.
A squared circle.
I was thinking that. Yes, squared circle.
The
That was
circle
one
square.
part. Now, what's the other part?
The other part is, Yahya, what you're one of the one. Not everybody. See, I don't even have a case now. I have no axe to grind, but I can't stop what I'm doing because I can't sleep at night thinking it can happen to somebody else. I
Right.
won my stuff and it's over with.
Beautiful.
But what keeps me going is trying to prevent this from happening to somebody else and the injustices that are happening because of the government. And once your eyes are open, unfortunately, you can't unsee or unknow what you've learned because of what happens to you in this thing. So I wanted to know what makes you keep going and not giving up when many others do.
Well, I mean, I don't have a choice. Like, so what do I do? Just stop? And then my son just grows up and thinks his dad was no good and whatever he may have been told, or well, I don't know what his thoughts are. Actually, I do, because I know my son. My son and I have a bond that is unbreakable. And I know my son. That's my son. He's
Mhm.
just like me. My daughter's just like me. And so I know that my son knows what's going on. And he's smart, because the last time he saw me, he told me he wants to come live with me. And that's the last time I saw him. And I truly believe that's the reason why. That's the
Yeah.
last time I saw him, because I'm sure he went home and said that to his mom.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
what keeps me going is him. What keeps me going is him. And I can't even go through life without anything that happens in life. I will cry. I will have a moment. But I've learned to decompartmentalize. And so my wife always looks at me. We could be watching a show, and there's a moment with a dad and a son, or any kind of moment with the child involved. It doesn't have to be a son, it could be a daughter. And my wife just looks at me, and then she'll look at me like, she'll take her face and like stick it in my face to see if I'm crying.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, a lot of it is that way, though, isn't it? I mean, like when you're missing your kids and you're not able to see them, I mean, it's like
especially this
every
month,
little thing affects you. Yeah.
especially February. This is my son's
Hmm.
birthday, and I wasn't
Hmm.
able to see him, wasn't able to talk to him. Second year in a row. And the crazy part about this is, when I was at Dominique's house interviewing him, I was fairly new to this. Well, I was not. I was new. I was new to learning, like, everything that happens, and all the different people and all you guys, because a lot of you guys have been in this a lot longer than I have. You know, time really flies, because my son just turned 9, and this
Hmm.
started since he was 1. So
Wow.
time flies. But when I was there, I was like, I was. It was just. It was so surreal for me. And
Mhm.
I never imagined, like, when I would hear people, and I was doing a documentary, and I would travel and talk to different people, and they were saying, "Oh, I've been 5 years. Oh, I haven't seen my son in 3 years. Oh," and for me, it was like 3 months. I hadn't seen my son in 3 months. It's no big thing. We'll get over
Mhm.
this. I will never get to a year. I will never get to that. And now I'm there, and I'm like, 13 months. It's like now I'm really counting like everybody else. And I'm like, damn, this shit is real.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
this shit is real. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, even if you look at my documentary, which the documentary Casualties of War, Warriors Against the Regime, as we all know, it started out. Let me just go back for a minute. Okay.
Hmm.
When I first started the documentary, my initial thought was, this is another way for the white man to keep a black man down. That was my thought. But then
Hmm.
I was introduced to people like Neil Shelton, and Neil introduced me to everybody, and
Hmm.
Thomas Fiddler. I think Tom might have introduced me to Neil. I'm not even sure. But either way, I started meeting all these different people. And if you look around, the majority of y'all are white. So, so that quickly dispelled that myth.
Except for me. Except for me.
Right. Except for me. But that quickly dispelled that myth. So, okay, I was like, okay, no, it's not a race thing. Well, okay, it's a gender thing. This only happens to men. Women are doing this to men. And so that's when I started the documentary, and I started I was all about fathers' rights, and you know, it was kind of like it wasn't a women hating thing, but it was like bashing the bad women.
Mm-hmm.
And so the name of the film was Casualties of War, Women and the Regime, because I felt that all men and the babies were casualties of the women and the regime. But as I traveled the country interviewing people, I began to learn that it happens both ways. Now, nowhere near the same amount that it happens to men. So I still go with that same 85-15 split. But it does happen to women as well. And I have women in the documentary. So I had to go back. And then after one of the showings, a bunch of the Me Too came at us. And they were like really against that name. And I really wasn't. And I submitted the film to a couple festivals. And I got in like 2 of them because I was an alumni to those festivals with other films.
Right.
But the other films that I had never, festivals I'd never been to, they rejected it. And I truly believe, because I went to some of them and I saw some of the documentaries and I was like, really? And you rejected mine? That's purely because it was, like they say, hating on women.
Right.
Because it was called Women and the Regime. So what I did was I went back, I re-edited it, I cut it down, made it a little shorter, and I changed the title. I have more women in it, and it's called Casualties of War, Warriors Against the Regime.
Right.
Because I rock with the women too, because it shouldn't happen to them either.
Yep.
And so that's where the film is now. But what I was saying was that if you look at the people in the film, you have me, Roy Jones, Joe Smith. Well, Roy Jones is the legend boxer, Olympian, and I don't know how many world titles he's won. Joe Smith, first round draft pick in the NBA. Carlos Rivera, pediatrician, well respected and loved. I have one guy that was a convicted and admitted murderer. I have children. I have women. I have lawyers, doctors. I have everybody in there, and they all talk about the same thing. How can this go? I mean, how can it just cover the board like that?
Right.
How can this cover the board like that? And it's all because of the system.
Exactly. Yeah, let's since you mentioned the film here, let's go ahead and play a clip from that real quick here. Let me pull this up here.
Ubiquitous. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
Courts have a financial incentive to take our children from us, to take us as parents, most often fathers, but also mothers. They reduce us down to visitors to justify child support order. And when they justify child support order, the state then receives federal funding through what's known as Title 4D of the Social Security Act.
I did a great job and raised them myself pretty much. Mom did what she had to do to help out, but she didn't allow the system to come in and force me to raise my own kids.
My daughter died. No one told me. And her mother still collected child support.
Let's go, Sarah. Come on, sweetie. Yeah, I understand, sweetie.
No, I know a lot of you are going through the very same things that I'm going through right now.
I spent 15 years in prison because I didn't have my biological father there to influence.
Anything you want to say? You're being accused of shooting a cop, killing him.
Society not letting me see my son. I lashed out to somebody that didn't deserve it.
85% of youths in prison were raised by single moms.
I haven't seen my son since November.
Like I said, I got one I ain't seen in 15 years.
I haven't seen my kids since December 2013.
I've been on house arrest for 2 years now for wanting to be in my daughter's life and being a father.
This doesn't just happen to men, this also happens to women. Mothers are alienated as well.
I'm personally a victim of a corrupt family law system.
They're being told by their father that your mother don't want you. She abandoned you. Do you know what this is doing to my children?
As President of the United States, I will do everything I can to address this inequality in
Casualties of war. Warriors against the regime.
Yeah, very, very powerful there. Awesome stuff. And I know it's a little bit older. You've done this. That was produced what, a couple of years ago? Is that right?
Yep.
But I'm telling you, it's still powerful. It's still relevant today. And you know, I just don't understand how politicians can hear and know the fact that there is a particular issue with Title 4D of the Social Security Act that is absolutely destroying families, that we have Title 4E. We put something in place for that with the Families First Act and the Buchanan Act, but there's still more to be done. We're taking children away from good families. We're placing them in foster care systems, or we're giving them to a parent that we know will end up doing something wrong, and they'll end up going into foster care. And I think that's why they predominantly give the custody to a child who the parent is not doing what they should be doing.
Or they just take them away from two, like the guy Yahya Rahim, who was an Olympian and a world champion boxer, and he's in the documentary. And his baby was taken away from, and he had him and the mother, both two fit parents that wanted the baby, but the courts decided they need to put the kid in foster care while they decide who is the best parent. And that ended up being a whole year, and then they end up giving him the child back.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because they get a kick.
Yeah, 100%. And we've got our co-host probably coming in here, our third co-host coming in. Neil Shelton is in with us tonight, and I know that Neil has, I'm sure he's got questions for you as well with everything that's going on. Neil, how are you doing this evening? Hey, Neil, are you hearing me? I'm not sure if he's hearing us okay or not.
He's under the snow.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you.
What's happening, fellas? Sorry, I just got in.
Awesome. Well, you got in just in time right before Yahya is heading out here, so I wanted to make sure that we got to you if you have any questions for Yahya this evening.
Well, Yahya, I think he was getting ready to say it, and we was talking the other day, and he's actually re-edited the documentary, and he's going to enter it into some more film festivals. You know, and like we said at the beginning, you know, this is an ongoing project. This, you know, it happens every day, so you can't say that something's actually finished, and I think a lot of things will spin off of it. And it's quality work, people, and you know, Roy Jones Jr. is in it. Yahya, I mean, some big name people are in it, and it shows what happens in this mom's stories too. So, hats off to Yahya for all his hard work and doing it, and putting it together. And if you haven't watched it, go to the website, pay the $5 the money.
Not up there anymore.
Huh?
No more because it's back on the film festival.
Oh, that's right. That's okay. Yeah, we'll support it when it comes out. We'll make some noise, and we need to support this film because it's important. Everything we do is important. It's just making noise, you know, staying in their faces.
Hey man, you've been very instrumental in helping me get acquainted with a lot of these people, helping me get a lot of this stuff done, man. So, and you know, Neil's one of the producers on that film, so.
I love you. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I can't thank you enough personally. You know, Dominic's in the documentary, and
yeah, man.
You know, it's some hard hitting stuff, but you know, me and Yahya, and me and Dominic too. We've spent time together. You know, I spent a month with Dominic up there in Chicago, but me and Yahya, we've spent some time together, and I really respect him as a person. And you know, and you know, you can't really understand it until it happens to you. And Yahya, unfortunately, understands it more and more each day, like the rest of us. So,
yep.
Anyway, did I ever hook you up with Ale out in Washington, D.C., the lawyer up there, Yahya?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm going to do that after the show. I was thinking about that this morning, that we've got a father's rights guy. I mean, you know, it's up there. So anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah, but no, don't worry. My thing is staying right here in the ATL, shorty.
Good.
Keep awesome. So it looks like we're going to get a re-release, obviously, here coming out very soon, of Casualties of War, and we'll definitely promote that as much as we possibly can and get it out there.
Shay knows I'm a big Roy Jones Jr. fan too. As a fighter, I love his music. Matter of fact, I put "Can't Be Touched" in a lot when I'm trying to motivate.
We've got an interview, me and Yahya's show, but I'm the one running the board. You know, Riddick Bowe. Everybody remembers Riddick Bowe.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we went to school with Mike Tyson with Riddick Bowe. I mean, he's one as far as more. Correct me if I'm wrong, Yahya, but this cat, he's won more weight divisions than most people could imagine. Is that?
He was a heavyweight. Yeah, he was a big boy.
No, Riddick Bowe was heavyweight. He was heavyweight all the time.
Okay.
He had the trilogy. He had the trilogy with Holyfield.
That's what it was. The trilogy. I'm sorry.
Won 2 out of 3, but if you ask him, I won them all.
Yeah. But you know, we did an interview with him, and actually he was first part of the show. Then the second part of the show touched on mine, and we've got archives of that. You know, so we could actually mix up some pretty cool stuff and replay those things.
Yeah, he talked about $1 million on his case.
Oh yeah, his case is nuts, y'all. And then hearing him talk and tell about it, I mean, it's him talk and tell. It's crazy. So I mean, but that goes back to saying it affects anybody and everybody. They set him up with some false charges too. So anyway, it is what it is. But we're making noise and staying in their faces. And this is just like boxing, just like Yahya says. You just got to keep in there, stay in there, keep your head up, and keep swinging. This, it's
100%, brother.
Let me tell you guys one thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we keep talking about boxing and the documentary. You put the two together, you have Yahya McClain's life, boxing and film. And I am currently one of the co-producers and the director of photography for the after party reenactment scene in a documentary about Muhammad Ali. It's
awesome.
Cool. Ali Comeback, The Untold Story. And it too is on the film festival circuit. And at the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles, it won the People's Choice Award last weekend.
Awesome.
Wow.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's amazing.
You guys
I saw a trailer to that and it was crazy good.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, there's a lot of stuff that Yahya McClain is doing. Yahya, if there are people that want to get out there and support you, obviously Warriors Against the Regime coming back out, re-edited version, where can they contact you and support you at? Because obviously, like we said earlier in the broadcast, probably the reason why we're not getting some of these grants and things is because it is such a controversial topic. So we need people to help Yahya get that out as much as possible to these film festivals. We need people to see that, and we need places like Netflix and stuff like that to pick this up. They need to be picking these kind of stories up that need to be out there on Netflix.
Well, my Instagram is at Yaster. My Instagram is at Yaster, YAHSTER. Facebook is Yahya McClain and Yahya McClain Sr. I have 2 different Facebook pages.
So Jay, if we could, for the folks helping out so graciously behind the scenes with the FFN show, if we could get Yahya's information put directly on the page, that would be great.
Yes, absolutely. As soon as we get this broadcast downloaded, we'll download it. We'll save it, and we'll make sure that we rebroadcast it probably sometime later in the week again on Facebook, just because they want to play games with us. They're going to get it broadcasted on there anyway. It doesn't matter. We're going to get it on there. So regardless, we're going to get the message out. But thank you, Yahya, so much for coming on tonight. We greatly appreciate you. Anything we can do, let us know. And definitely, like I said, that offer still stands to be on the Future of our Children's Video Network, anytime you want.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you all, man. I appreciate you all. You know, it's going to take a whole bunch of us to make this happen, man. So we just got to, like I always say, keep your hands up and stay on your feet.
Awesome.
And
rev it up.
One more thing.
Yep.
You guys need a black guy on that show.
We may do that.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. That's why the FFN show is the all-star show, brother. So yeah, anytime you want to come on and co-host with us, yeah, we'll have you on, brother.
Yeah, and Champ, they say that the last thing to go is a puncher's punch, right? That hard hit. You got a lot of heart, Champ. Thanks for coming on. Keep punching. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. You guys.
All right. Thanks so much. All right, guys. Yahya McClain. Amazing stuff there.
All right, man. I love you too, bro.
All right, guys. Let's see here. I'm gonna take him there. Awesome first half, guys. Amazing guest, Yahya McClain. The stuff that he's put out there is already outstanding. We're gonna get it pushed out there more because I think a lot more people need to see that documentary. I've seen it myself. It's outstanding.
Very good.
Couldn't say enough about it. And it needs to get the publicity. And like I said, it needs to get on one of these film festivals that's big and win one of these film festivals. That way it'll get on Netflix or one of these other platforms that bring those out. That way we can have the publicity behind it that we need. Yep.
Jay, the bigger the FFN show gets, see, we'll just put pressure on Netflix and we'll force them. So you can do it the easy way or you can do it our way. One or the other, we can do either. We'll get him on there, definitely. And I want to say quickly, too, hello to Mr. Shelton, that he is the president. So he's allowed to come on whenever he wants. He was fashionably late, Mr. President.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Shelton, he's got time. So what? Mr. Shelton, Neil Shelton, how you doing, sir? Thank you.
Good. I'm sorry, y'all. It's been nuts up here. So, but I'm doing great. And you wanted to get in and catch that first part of the show. And I'm after this week, I should slow down a bit and be more regular. So
awesome. So we're gonna have Neil Shelton on more regularly now, which is that's dangerous, folks.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
It is. And hey, let me just say this. Neil, you weren't here, so what I'm about to say, it might or might not even be true. But before you came on, Yahya was talking about the need for a black guy, and come to find out, he had done a little movie situation about you, but Matthew McConaughey knocked him out because of the movie he came out with, and your movie was going to be White Boy Neil.
Okay.
But then White Boy Rick came out and stole the thunder. So you're just, huh?
Well,
Randy, right out from under White Boy Neil.
White Boy Neil. I like White Boy Neil better than saying Neil.
I was called the Boston Bomber, so whatever y'all want to call me is not going to affect me one way or a bit.
Awesome, guys. Let's get on here. I'm going to try and see if I can bring in our next guest here. I know that she may or may not be ready. Hopefully she is ready because I'm turning her camera on here, hopefully. All right. And so she is in with us here, Mrs. Cheyenne McQueen. Cheyenne, are you there? I don't know if she's ready for us yet or not.
She's not.
There she is.
Cheyenne.
Hi, Cheyenne. Can you hear us?
I think she's got to turn that mic on, Money.
Yeah, turn that mic on. Little button at the bottom there.
Yeah, just tap your screen and you should see a little microphone come up and hit that.
At least she smiled.
Yeah, she's smiling.
Hey, are you there, Cheyenne? Can you hear us?
We're going to have her out. Randy.
Yeah.
It's always awesome when he comes on. Every time, he always gets the energy up, no matter what. It's just fascinating to listen to him, and it's fun to listen to him. He's very real. You got to love that. I know you, of all people, love that. We both do.
I do love that. And he is always excited. He loves Neil Shelton to death. That's what we know. He's always pumped up. And he obviously showed us that it happens to everybody. You just don't think it's going to be you until it is you.
Yeah, he's a bundle of positive energy. That's the only way to describe. Yeah. He lights up a room when he comes. I mean, he just makes you feel better about whatever. So he's a genuinely real person.
Yeah.
And because you didn't know this part, but Melissa's been talking with some guys that've been all over the news. Trump has talked to him the other day after he finished talking to them. They're cowboys for Trump. Mm-hmm. And 5 minutes after they finished speaking with him, they called Melissa because they're already scheduled to be on the Watchmen. So these guys, they're taking a personal message to him on July the 4th. This is Cowboys for Trump. You guys can look them up. They got their own Facebook page now. And they have, and I'll just tell it here, they have arranged for an airliner ticket for Melissa to fly to D.C. on the 4th and for a horse for her to ride in there with them. And they're asking for the message that Trump needs to get, because they've got a hat that they're going to give to our president. And they're asking for the message of what needs to be fixed. So we are preparing one. So I wanted you guys to kind of help prepare that so that we can all be involved as Future of Our Children Radio Network and send that message. And they're listening right now. They're sharing it. Most of their videos go 300, 500,000 a pop. So there's no doubt this is going to go viral. There's no doubt whatsoever. Plus having Yahya on, a two-time world champion, doesn't hurt any either. But I wanted to let you guys know that.
Yeah, 100%. Cowboys for Trump. We know you're out there. Thank you guys so much for what you do out there. And we're going to try again here to get in Cheyenne McQueen as soon as she turns the camera and everything on.
Randy,
but yeah.
Randy, I'm actually excited that you mentioned it because it was one of those situations where it's like when you know what you're getting your kid for Christmas and you want to tell them, but you can't. You have to wait. But you just made it Christmas morning. You opened it, Randy. So thank you. We can let it out. We're all so proud of Melissa, and it's awesome. It's quite an honor. It's gonna be a great day, July 4th all day. Randy?
Absolutely.
And everybody call me Daddy from now on. Just refer to me as Daddy and White Boy Neil.
Daddy, White Boy Neil. Yeah, Cheyenne, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hey, Cheyenne.
I don't know if she can even hear us. I can see her, but we can't hear from her.
I can hear. I think
Randy.
Yeah.
Actually, after the 83rd arrest, I'm an honorary black guy.
You are.
So you can't call me White Boy Neil. I got more swag than you can imagine.
Yeah, you are OG now. You are OG Neil.
Dapper Neil. Slick Neil. Well, Cheyenne looks good. She looks ready, Jay.
Well, yeah, I see her, but I don't know if she can hear us. Can she hear us? Okay, you can hear us. That little button down at the bottom, if you tap your screen, there's a little button down at the bottom that has your microphone.
See, these sort of glitches, as I always say, Randy, and you know it too, Neil. This is all what makes shows with these sort of glitches. This is where you have your impromptu moments that make the show, where we make fun of each other. Yeah. And we blame Jay for all the glitches. Yeah.
Yep.
Jay's fault.
Can you hear me?
It is Jay's fault.
It is. And Mr. President, half white, half black boy Neil. We'll talk about it after the show.
Neil is hardcore. He sewed his underwear up with a string from a towel and a staple.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right. I respect that.
Not something you learn at home ec.
No. I could do some cool home ec classes, but yeah, and it is what it is. But yeah, it's looking back on all that, it shapes you. It really does. Randy knows the deal all too well. Yahya, we're getting back to him just a little bit because it's on my mind. He's like, I think 13 months into not seeing his son, and that just breaks my heart.
Yep. Yeah. Cheyenne, can we test your microphone out there? Are you there?
There we go.
Yeah, we've got you. We can hear you now, but you're there. There you go. Are you there?
Oh, yep. Now I messed something up.
Well, that's okay. We'd rather have your audio. That way we can hear you and you can hear us.
And
rather we can have a steel shot here.
Cheyenne, it's Bud Vito here. Your frozen face is good, so you're in luck. Sometimes when the camera freezes, it's less than flattering. But yours is just great. Oh, and you're live now, so even better. We can see
Yes.
you. Look at that smile.
Yeah.
Love it.
So those who don't know, Randy Davis, myself, several other people had helped Cheyenne a long time ago. And Cheyenne was really helped herself to get her own children back. And she did an amazing job. And we're so absolutely proud of her for getting her children back from CPS, DCF, one of those groups out there. And she has a world of knowledge that she can help people with. So if you are out there and you're wondering if there's somebody out there who's had success with this, other than Randy, yeah, there are some that have had success. Cheyenne is one of them, and we're so proud of her. And Cheyenne, not only is she doing that, but in the state of Oregon, she's helping with a bill right now, HB 2115, is that correct?
Yes, I believe that's correct. I'd have to double check. I don't have it memorized. There's 2 different bills I'm working on actually.
Okay. Okay. And what are those 2 bills for actually?
So I found a woman, and I want to give most of the credit to her because she's the one who is working on them, trying to, pass them through the loop, talking to the senators, talking to the legislators. I am more so working on the backside, the stories, getting the people to feel comfortable to tell their stories or telling their stories for them. And that will take a lot. I will have to appear in person.
Right. And you're going to have to appear in person probably and testify and kind of help with that situation. I know your camera went off again. I'm not sure what's going on there, but you got a little bit of technical issues like we have tonight, but that's okay.
Medicating.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're trying to get the people out there who have stories that match the criteria of these bills. So that way we have a face behind the story and matching those kind of things, because these are very important bills. And I'm going to share one of them. You can kind of talk about it. Let's see here if I can pull that up real quick. Let's see. There you go. There's House Bill 2115 in Oregon, and this bill has to do with relating to use of psychotropic medications for children in foster care, creating a new provisions amending ORS 418517 and prescribing an effective date. So tell us a little bit about that and why is it so important to get that out there?
So for me personally, and for a lot of parents of children in foster care, and for a lot of children that are in foster care, this is so important because children aged 2 to 18 are put on anywhere from 1 to 8 different psychotropic drugs at any one point in time or several different points in time in their time being in foster care. And some of these drugs highly interact or interfere with each other and could cause bad, harmful chemical effects to a developing child's mind or a developing child's body. And it turns out the foster care representatives themselves, the caseworkers, supervisors, and the leads, the Departments of Human Services, Child Protective Services, DCFS, whatever you want to call them, do not know how many children are on these drugs and do not know the prescribing doctors. You're not tracking how many children are.
Exactly right. So you've got an issue where you've got a lot of foster cares that are out there, and I'll turn down my volume a little bit here. You've got a lot of foster care issues out there where you've got a foster care that takes possession of a child, puts them in the foster care system, and then drugs them up with anywhere from 1 to 8 medications, maybe more, depending on what psychotropic drug that they feel that they fit the criteria of. These could be anything from issues of a person, a social worker in that foster care who says, well, I think that this child is manic depressive, or I think that this child has bipolar disorder. And so they give all of these psychotropic drugs to these children who are in these foster cares. And by the time that they have all these psychotropic drugs in them, they don't know even what their name is. By that time, they don't even know, because they can't even write it down because they're drooling on themselves most of the time. We've got those kind of issues. And then you've got a child who is so drugged up, and then they turn the age of consent, I believe, which is in a lot of states 16. Of course, they're going to go to court and they're going to be like, I don't even know my name. How can you tell me if I'm lucid enough in order to make a decision whether I want to go back with my parents or be in foster care? That's wrong. When you're drugging a child so much that they have no idea of what their name is. We've seen it before. We've seen it. In the good old state of Illinois, we have seen this over and over again. So I'm putting you on notice, Department of Health and Human Services in Illinois. We are going to come out with information in the Far From Normal radio show very, very shortly that will blow the whistle on you. And it will blow the lid off of this. And we are tired of seeing children being placed in a foster care, which you seem to think is better for these children, right, than being with their parents. Well, what happens? A lot of these children even die on overdoses of this medication. Hydrocodone, fentanyl patches when they don't even have a pain issue. Some of these children are being prescribed fentanyl. It's ridiculous. Randy, I want you to go ahead and talk a little bit about this, because you know about that system all too well and how corrupt it is.
Yeah, and I want to say congratulations. I really think the world of Cheyenne, and she has the same name as my daughter, who went through a lot of stuff. And mine was like Neil's, folks, because there's people out here listening like Cowboys for Trump. They have no idea what we're talking about. But what it equates to is the same thing they're doing, no matter what political party you are. Those guys are in D.C. because they have situations of government overreaching into their lives. And that's why they're going there, is to try and prevent it. I mean, they're taking people's farms. They take your liberty, as in the case with Neil and I. No charges on me, 83 arrests for Neil, 3 arrests for me, 8 criminal charges, obstruction of justice, just to try and shut me up because I was writing about federal funds. And Neil's was the same thing. It was retaliation. But what happened because of that, it was kind of a blessing in that the curtain was opened up and I could see into what happens into the foster care industry and the family court industry. And I have actual documentation of a child from a GAL, which is a guardian ad litem report. And it literally says in there, now this is a kid where he was 15 years old, and they had drugged him so bad, they even said in their own record, the drool is starting to get better. The tripping over things is starting to get better. And this boy went in at age 12, he goes into foster care to protect him. And when he went in, he was reading at a 5th grade level, and he was in 5th grade. And right now he's reading at a 3rd grade level. Now you tell me what sense that makes, because I don't know. But you're talking about Risperdal, Depakote, Thorazine, Paladol. You're talking about very Prozac, Vyvanase, Ritalin. You're talking about some very substantial narcotics and antipsychotics. These are and there's been no real examination. It's a matter of keeping a kid quiet and keeping him out of a courtroom. That's the only thing it is. And these are dangerous things. And why is it happening? It's happening because of money. Neil knows that. Cheyenne knows that. It's happening because of money. There's funding, just as in the farm bills and everything, there's farm money or USDA subsidies. When it comes to the family court side, child support, custody, DSS, there's Title IV funding in there for all of these things. So these things are real, they're happening, and they're funding complete corruption. I'm sure Neil would know how to tell you about North Carolina. He faced it in North Carolina. It didn't face the foster care issue, but it's the same people, and the same people that went after Neil are the same one that writes the laws, Sarah Stevens, that writes the laws for foster care.
And a lot of people don't realize too, and where we could actually gain some ground by combining efforts, is that elder guardianship issues is the same thing as what the foster children are facing, foster care, anything involved like that. It's the same thing. It's basically reverse funding, and it's the same thing. They drug the older people up. It's just basically government control, and not only do they get funding from the government, but then they can wipe out entire states pretty quick. So in DC, I was noticing that the family law and the CPS stories and the guardianship people, and I've noticed that throughout the movement, they're pulling together, and that's what we need is more groups, because it's the same beast. It's just preying on different victims. So, and that's the weak.
Right. So. 100% right there. And I'm going to give to Bud here in a second, but I'm going to say, Cheyenne, what is the other bill that you're also supporting out there?
So the other bill is another HB, and of course, again, I don't have the numbers right off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But that one is for foster children who have aged out of foster care and who have actually themselves become targets by the system and lost their children to the system. And it's basically, stating that you cannot target a foster child and take their child when they then have a child because they were a foster child and they're unfit because you raised them. If they're unfit, you failed. You did something. You can't come after them.
That is awesome.
That's good.
that is awesome. That's the best thing I've ever heard of. Bud, I'm going to bring you in on this question here. So it seems like we've got a bill out here in Oregon that Cheyenne is backing, and it seems to be logical to me that if you raise these foster kids, then you're responsible for what they turn out to be like, correct?
Makes pretty logical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, Cheyenne, first of all, Bud, I applaud you. Heard a lot about you before the show, and I hope that flatters you because it should. Getting into this movement, I want to say, Jay, it's funny because number one, Jay and I, it's wonderful the way things happen, the way they're supposed to, right? We always needed some expertise when it came to CPS and foster care, because that was something in the beginning, Jay and I both admit we weren't very well versed on. It was not something that we ever dealt with. It was more the family court, but we had a lot of people that we dealt with that did. And we tried to address that. We have two of the best here now. On top of that, what Neil said too, it's important in terms of elder care. And he's exactly right, because that's one of the other things getting into the movement, much like the CPS aspect, I kind of fell into it. I see repetitive stories, Mr. Shelton, of that very thing. And it's, when you said identical, that's exactly what it is, just in reverse. And it's deplorable. So again, Cheyenne, quickly, thank you for all you're doing. I think it takes guts, it takes courage. I applaud you. And I know my cohorts here do as well. They've said it behind the scenes. I know they've said it here on the camera here as well. So again, thank you for what you're doing. It takes a lot of heart.
You know what? You're welcome. Everyone is welcome. This is for everyone, for me, for you, for your kids, for my kids, for their kids after that, and for all of America as well as all of not America, because people deserve this. We've been taken advantage of for so long and been pushed around and been told what to do and been afraid and too afraid to speak up, too afraid to fight for our rights because of repercussions. And this is just uh, this is just another form of genocide. They're, trying to put gag orders on people, and it is ridiculous. This is not the land of the free. This is not the land of the brave. This is not what it should be. And the children that are in care now, as well as the children that are in care after them, deserve somebody that has been in their situation to speak up and stand up and say, this is enough. This is enough. I have been here. And if I can stop one child from going through anything that I went through, or something worse than what I went through, that's enough for me. I'm not afraid anymore. And I'm not going to be quiet anymore, because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to come after me, and I'm not afraid. I've got my rights. I've got my Constitution right here.
Hmm. Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of situations here that are coming up, and I'm gonna explain this here to you. For those who are far away from what we call the movement, or those who are far away from the parental equality community, so to speak, when we speak about these things, we're speaking about the Title IV-D funding from the Social Security Act, the Title IV-E funding from the Social Security Act. That's very important because the Social Security Administration set up those funds directly for people's retirement. They did not set up those funds so that the states could benefit off of taking children from fit and loving parents. There are fit and loving parents out there who are suffering every single day, not seeing their children because what? There was a false allegation. The child showed up to the school and had a bruise on them that was caused from the playground, but yet there was an accusation that it was from a parent. Maybe they showed up, did a health and welfare check, and you happen to have dirty dishes in the sink. They've taken kids for that. I've seen it firsthand. I've heard the stories firsthand. I've seen it in the documentation firsthand. And I can tell you the fact that they call it neglect. If you neglect to do your parental responsibilities or parental duties, if your child is sick and has mono, I've seen them take a kid that had mono and put them into child custody. I've seen it firsthand in the documentation. And I'm telling you, here's how it works. Here's how it affects you. It doesn't just affect you. And I want to get to this point because I didn't know this for a very, very long time. I didn't know my family's background, my family's history. My great-great-grandfather was put in a soldiers and sailors home way back 98 years ago. As a result, my grandfather wasn't fathered very well. As a result, my father was not fathered very well. As a result, my father didn't father me great, but they did the best they could just by what they knew. And that is, I mean, there's no manual on how to be a parent, absolutely. But there's also the foundation of loving your child and knowing how to love your child and what good things to say and good disciplinary acts that you should abstain from and some that you should use. And for 98 years, my family has been adversely affected. That only makes me entrenched in this movement even much more because this is a legacy event. When you take a child away from a fit and loving parent, this doesn't affect just that child and those parents. It affects generations of people. So what we want to get across to you is that fit and loving parents should have custody of their children. fit and loving. Now, if you have a domestic abuser or you have an actual person who is a pedophile or has done something wrong to their children, sure, we do not condone that they have their children. Absolutely not. And I know Randy's chomping at the bit over there, so I know that's, what we've gone on the pretext there. So Randy, go ahead and elaborate on that for sure.
Yeah, there are some, and I think everybody knows who they are, but they're out there right now and they're supporting pedophiles. And I'm talking about convicted pedophiles. Some of them were convicted in Guilford County, North Carolina, served 10 years in prison. Look, some have active warrants on them right now and were convicted, and they're still advocates that they call themselves advocates, honestly, who are defending this stuff. That's insane. Look, and when a man pleads guilty to something going to put him in 10 years of prison, and knowing he's taking 10 years of prison, and he does that, like the guy in North Carolina, Brian Robertson. When a man does that, he's taking that plea in order to not get 20 to 40 or something worse than 10. So the only way I can think of possible a guy would cop a plea that big, it's not like a slap on the wrist where you do it. And I know everybody has been involved in situations where you go, well, I'll let you time serve. You got to say you're guilty of crossing the street, but not indecent liberties with a child to push you in prison for 10 years. So anybody that's out there supporting that kind of nonsense, they're not an advocate. They're not looking out for children. And Neil Shelton named this thing years ago, future of our children. Just think about that, future of our children. Well, they won't have a future if these are the kind of people that we support or the kind of advice that gets followed. And I know Neil is ready to rear up in this thing. It's hard. It's hard, people. When Yahya says it, I was sitting here and I was listening, and Neil said his heart was breaking because Yahya hadn't seen his kids in 13 months. And I was thinking, my God, Neil's heart is breaking because of Yahya. But Neil, tell the people how long it's been since you have seen your children and what that's really like because of a corrupt ass politician, Sarah Stevens, who's Speaker of the House Pro Tem in North Carolina.
Yeah, the last time I saw or spoke to my children was Father's Day 2012. So a long time. I've actually stopped counting, but that's the day. So 7, 8 years. My daughter was 2 and my son was 5. So, they're grown. My son's 12. She, it is what it is. But you just keep on going and you keep setting goals. And I can remember every year saying next year's the year, next year's the year. And honestly, it never ends. The only advice I give to people, and what I even told Yahya, and he knows better than anybody himself, that you just got to refocus and get your mind on something else, because you dwell on the negative, you're going to be negative. You dwell on the positive, you have a better chance of trying to stay positive. So, and be constructive. I mean, everything you do, you're going to have to document. So all this woe is me time, spend it going and getting your records, getting your transcripts, learning. You think you know your story. You don't have a clue until you go through every piece of paperwork, and you need to go through every piece of paperwork. So there's enough stuff to keep a person busy, and you have to do it as part of it. And that's also very healing when you do that, because it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Neil, I know Randy, we've said it before on shows past, is repetition. And it's like what Neil said. You just said, Neil, too, just staying positive. You stay stuck in that woe is me, as Neil said. It's easy to do, and it's easier to fall into that. We've all done it. But you got to find that extra gear, right? You got to find that extra gear. And again, Randy said it too, and I concur. Repetition. Get yourself, you got to sometimes physically pick yourself up and get yourself, and sometimes you want to stay. Sometimes it's easier just to stay Myers just did shit, you know, but you gotta say, no, I gotta do this. And once you get into it and start, it's a lot easier when you get out of that mold and start feeling that positivity. And guys, I want to say quickly, I see the Cheyenne on, and I've talked to Randy's wife, Melissa, and just different people all around the movement. What I think the people, you know, the money makers off this whole scheme, this family court scheme, what they never anticipated is the human spirit. They never anticipated the bear who got kicked too much and went, you know what? No, now I'm going to get up and rip your fucking face off. That's what they didn't anticipate. Mama bear, Papa bear.
They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds.
Yes, exactly. Boom. And I'll say this. What happens, you guys will get it. People that haven't been through this, they won't get it. And there's people out there that have been there and they'll go, oh my God. There's a point where you literally, it's part of you that dies and you're no longer afraid, like Cheyenne said. And that's when you're dangerous in a very good way you can be, because there's part of you that breaks and you just lose that inhibition. You say, what else do I have to lose? I'm dying. What else do I have to lose? I'm going to die going out like Yahya, punching until you can't punch anymore. Randy.
Yeah. I'm going to say this here. Absolutely, positivity gets us through these situations. And I will say this, we're going to talk probably next week about the fact of what gets people through these situations. How do we, number one, come into the situation? How do we adjust? And then how do we move on? Because that's a very, very important topic for people. People need to know that there are several levels that you're in when you come into this as a new person or a newbie. Is that you come into this and you are in shock, and then you move on to a schedule where you want to speak out, but you actually should not be speaking out. You should be learning. You should be absorbing like a sponge. And then when it comes out, that's when it's time for you, once you have learned everything, and that's when it's time for you to speak out and build a brand new life for yourself, because the old one, that ain't there no more. It's gone. That old life that you once have, it's gone. You got to learn how to adapt and move on. So we're going to talk about that a lot next week. And I know that with the people that are listening tonight, especially the Cowboys for Trump, the one thing that we want to say to you guys that's prohibiting a lot of the things that Cheyenne, and I'm going to get back to Cheyenne here, the things that are prohibiting that is that we have politicians that are out there that are taking bribes, that they're taking everything that they possibly can from DHHS. They're taking funds from attorneys or bar licensed attorneys who are acting in a way in which to lobby for legislation in the particular states. So those state statutes will say something that is advertently against the Constitution, that we should be out there. Number one, you should be out there. If something's out there that does not fit the Constitution, you need to be challenging the constitutionality of the state statutes. Number one, that's what you need to be doing. Challenge the constitutionality. But the thing is, we got these bar licensed attorneys. Who is it in Oregon that these two bills, who's your biggest opposition in those states?
My opposition, like who's against me, or who's
Yeah, who's against those bills passing for you?
Oh, I most definitely Kate Brown.
I'm sorry?
Kate Brown, the governor of Oregon. She's the biggest.
So the governor of Oregon, so you've got a legislator or a politician that is against the bill. Now, why is it do you think that she's possibly against the bill? And I'm going to say this. Go out to followthemoney.org. And you will find that probably a lot of the funding that that politician is getting is from the Department of Health and Human Services, or is from bar licensed attorneys who are acting as lobbyists. I can almost guarantee you.
Or doctors or pharmaceutical companies. Yeah.
The pharmaceutical companies or USDA. Another one Randy can tell you about. That's a monster. But we're finding that these organizations are not working for children. They're working for their own self-interest. Unfortunately, they would much rather sell your child off than for the price of a McDonald's cheeseburger. They don't care about your children. They only care about the income that fills their pockets, so that they can go home and they can send Johnny, Bobby, and Tommy off to Oxford, Harvard, and Yale so that they can become lawyers and attorneys to do the same thing to these children.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's sickening. It's a cycle, a cycle, a cycle, a cycle. You know, but you were talking about good people that have their children taken from them, you know, on just ridiculous claims like me and my story, having my children removed, being a victim of domestic violence and calling for help. But I also, you know, didn't get to speak on people that deserve to have their children taken away and don't get their children taken away because their child is already damaged, so they're not worth as much money to the state, like me, for instance. Whereas between the ages of 5 and 11 years old, the Department of Human Services in Klamath Falls, Oregon, who I want to call out here, came out to my home 48 times where I was actively being sexually abused, physically abused, mentally abused, and did nothing to take me from my home until I physically acted out. And then later turned around, and so many years later, when I had my children and I was a victim of a crime, they victimized me again and took my children from me. So I'm definitely going to come at them a lot harder with this. You know, you messed with the wrong girl not once, but twice.
100%. Thank you again so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate you and everything you're doing. And I know that I'm going to be sending people your way for sure.
And I just wanted to end this here, show you guys little Jesse James here.
Awesome.
Got to come home. And I got Kathy over here.
So yeah, beautiful kids. And we're so glad that they are home with you for sure.
Oh, we got to have, hey, wait a minute, Jay. You trying to do it again. Cheyenne, well, number one, I want people to understand Cheyenne was a foster child who then had her children taken. So it's like a double win, like a cradle to grave government intervention thing. Number two, there's three things. Number two, this weekend on The Watchmen, Cheyenne, is going to be a lady, Karen. And Karen has a law proposed. Okay, Senate Bill 123. And Karen's law is the name of that law, and it has to do with domestic violence. I believe this would be a good show for you to tune into, just like anybody else. But Karen's law is going to be the thing. Then number three, and most importantly of all of this, we need you to say, rev it up.
All right. You know what? Rev it up, guys.
Rev it up. All right. So we heard another one right here. Thanks so much, Cheyenne. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So we will remove there, Cheyenne. Thank you so much. Awesome guest tonight, guys. Yahya McClain. We had obviously Cheyenne McQueen. I'm already recommending people to her because I know that she can help people who are in the dealing with the foster care system now. What do you do? What do you say? What do you not sign? And that's very, very important stuff that she's been through that she can give a world of advice to people on. So great show tonight, guys. Bud.
Absolutely incredible, my man, Money Moss.
Yeah.
Yahya per usual, was awesome, and he gets better and better like a fine wine. Cheyenne, I had never had the pleasure of speaking with, and that was empowering and enlightening. Again, I always learn something new when it comes to the CPS angle, again. And I think that's important to kind of round you out fully with the whole spectrum of family court and all the things that affect it. And there are so many things. As always, a blast with Mr. President, Neil Shelton, and my man, Rev It Up, Randy Davison. And as always, for over 2 years, my brother from another mother, J Money Moss. A pleasure as always, guys. And I know for people out there, it was empowering. We got a lot of stuff behind the scenes, messages coming through. For the folks working behind the scenes for Far From Normal, Thank you so much. This is such a wonderful collaboration because we have the best of the best behind the scenes, and it really truly is a team. We get excited together, we win together, we lose together, we do this together, and we're going to win together. For the folks out there, as Jay said, newbies or the people that have been in it forever, we're all in this together, and as long as you got a heartbeat, you got a chance. When you're at the bottom, as Mr. Sheldon said, when they buried you, they just planted you. Time to bloom, Jay Money Mon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go right back to you. We're going to start the shout outs for this evening. So go on ahead there, bud. I'm going to give you a minute or two.
That's fine. I'll keep it short and sweet. I gave my shout outs to you boys as usual, and the folks behind the scenes, the people working for Far From Normal, the people that are messaging us to get on the show. Keep them coming. We love you. For the folks out there, again, Mr. McClain, the champ, mentioned on the first show we had him on, make that pledge. I will not commit suicide. Be your own best friend. We all, and again, at your lowest, there's always that next day, and you'll be surprised. We've all been there where you said it can't get any worse. Things change in an instant. That being said, when things are good, cherish them. Tell the people, Jay Moss, I love you. Thank you, man. Randy Davis, I love you, pal. I respect you. Neil Shelton, thank you. Thank you for almost 3 years of brotherhood and friendship. And we're doing this together. Tell the people that you love now that you love them. And tell the people that need to be told to screw off now before it's too late. Everybody out there, chins up. It's not over till you say it's over. I haven't heard a bell. Thanks, guys.
Oh, he gets the dog tonight. All right, we're going to go over here to Mr. Randy Davis.
Guys, I want to say thank you. I'm glad to be a part of this. Yahya was great. No doubt about it. He's always great. It comes easy for him. He makes movies. He boxes. I mean, he's a ring announcer. He everything. The one that amazes me is Cheyenne McQueen. She went through so much. And I'm telling you guys, just being there for her, there was a lot of people that were just there for, not a lot. There was a lot who claimed, but there was some that were just there for her and helped her through some tough things. And now you see that this little girl that was beat down had been through the system. She was down for the count. They're counting her out. They're on 9. She has jumped up. Not only did she get her kids back, she's now helping to write bills. And now just think about this to those of y'all that are thinking about the pledge to not commit suicide, because we don't want that. That's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So keep that in mind as you go through these things. Think, no matter what's going on in your life, it'll change. If it's really, really good, it'll go bad. It will. You're going to have ups and downs. If it's really, really bad, believe me, it'll get better. Just don't ever give up. And no matter what you think, just know you're right about it. And then, as always, I'm thankful to white boy Neil. Neil is the one who got everything started, and white boy Neil is the man.
Now, see, awesome. This comes back to trying to bury us, trying to plant us, but they didn't know we were seeds. Randy bloomed a blooming idiot.
Yes. Jay, quickly before we go to Mr. Shelton, I just want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife. She celebrated her birthday last week.
Yes, happy birthday, Allie.
Yes, to Allie, my beautiful wife. She turned 25 again, and she is incredible as usual. I love you, baby. Thank you. Here's to another decade. It's my boys. I love you.
Yeah, absolutely. Go over to Neil Shelton here for your shout outs, brother.
Yeah, just want to thank you guys. I appreciate every one of you. Love working with you. I love you all to death. Yahya was great. Hearing his voice, seeing his face again on the screen here, and a lot of exciting things going on. So, like I said, after next week or so, I should be slowed down. The only major shout outs I want to give to anybody else, of course, always is my kids. I miss them and I love them dearly. And to all the people who put up with my madness and stay in my life, I want to say thank you. So
absolutely,
y'all having me on.
Awesome. And he gets the wolf tonight. All right, guys.
I like the wolf.
He's got the wolf. He's got the wolf. All right, guys. So yeah, you're going to see a bunch of stuff coming out. I know that Bub was holding up that nice little bumper sticker. We're going to come out with bumper stickers. We're going to come out with hats, T-shirts, visors, all that nice stuff out there. It'll be at a low reduced cost. So that way we can get it out there, get the free advertising out of it for us. So you'll actually get a nice T-shirt or hat or bumper sticker or whatever for a very, very low cost. That you can support the show, support the network and what we're doing out there. That money goes directly into the PayPal, which will end up going directly to pay for our services through Zoom that we use each and every single week. Obviously, it might need to be reviewing that here pretty soon, but since we're having some issues technically every single week on a Tuesday, but we'll figure that out. The important shout outs that I want to get to tonight, obviously we've got a team of people behind the scenes who do an excellent job for us. Maria, Melissa, Chris, Jacqueline, Janelle, a bunch of different people back there that are doing wonderful stuff. MJ, I know that you're back there. You're going to be back there very soon again. And so we're going to have just an amazing staff of people that get out there that share our show, that do the little things that we're going to need. Maria is going to head that boat with her expertise and knowledge and being able to kind of get people organized and do things. I want to thank my co-hosts, obviously, Bud Vino, Randy Davis, Neil Shelton. Definitely want to, again, as always, thank our hosts, or excuse me, our guests, Yahya McClain and Cheyenne McQueen. Obviously, great guests. Want to definitely thank Randy Davis and Neil Shelton. When I said that Bud and I were looking to do a show, these guys jumped right at it and said, yes, absolutely. We need to get you going here. And they got us a show real quick. And it was on the Future of Our Children's radio network. And we have never looked back. We're so thankful that we actually get to play even the elevator version of the song by 21 Pilots Heathens. But that whole song is very significant for us because of the fact that way back when I started my case, I had a judge who told me that the people of the movement were nothing but a bunch of heathens. Well, this one's back at you.
That's where it started. That's legit. That's where it started.
That's legit. That's where it started. And guess what? That judge is no longer on the bench. Guess what? I just made you famous. So that's what we do, people, here is we make people famous, good or bad. That's your choice. So as we say every single week in signing off, guys, you are important, you are loved, and you are cared about. God bless and good night.
Rev it up.
Oh.
Can you hear the wind that's howling through the concrete trees? Got you praying on your knees. In the face of danger we're all brave, till the gun goes bang, bang, bang. It's a cruel, cruel world, no mercy left, yeah, it's a cruel, cruel world. It'll break your heart, it burn you down, down, down. Don't ever doubt that it's a cruel, cruel world. Oh, it's a cruel, cruel world. Smoke will turn your soul to black if you let it in. So close the door, confess your sins. Oh, when I was younger, it was on roses. Now the dead and gone away. It's a cruel, cruel world, no mercy left, yeah, it's a cruel, cruel world. It'll break your heart and burn you down, down, down. Don't ever doubt that it's a cruel, cruel world. Oh, it's a cruel, cruel world. Oh, can you help me? Oh, can you help me out? Don't know who I can trust right now. Oh, can you help me? me out. Oh, it's a cruel, cruel world. It's a cruel,